Welcome back, saucers.
Welcome back.
Oh, my nails? Don't look at them.
Oh.
Don't look at them.
Well, I wasn't until you just put them on the screen and said, don't look at them. I wasn't. But now.
Anyway, we've got some amazing gentlemen here today talking.
Oh my God, your nails.
Stop! We have amazing guests today, and their names are David Lozada and Daniel Reid from the amazing Sounds Like NYC podcast. It's a really awesome podcast. It's pretty on brand for us because we are artists, and Molly loves New York and wants to move there, and I'm trying to keep her from doing that. And I used to live there, and I know a good amount about the artist scene there. I mean, not a genius per se, but they, I would say, are. I mean, they talk to artists on their podcast all the time about the highs and the lows, and that's really what we're all about. Not just artists, everyone, but that's our background. We as individuals, that's who we are. And I think,
and honestly, like the parallels between what artists go through, it runs parallel. It's the life experience that people in 9-to-5s go through. They're just not in the arts. And so it's relatable. It's on brand for us because, we'll be talking today about what their, of course, their SOS moments and how that relates to the world and everything.
So enjoy. Thank you so much, David and Daniel, for being here and talking to us today.
Welcome to the pod.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us on.
Yes.
Of course.
So we would, we're just going to dive right in and would ask you guys to summarize in a sentence or two what your SOS moment is that we'll be diving into.
Okay, I'll go first if that's okay, David.
It's okay with me.
Thanks, Dad.
You're welcome.
So my SOS moment, I mean, for like anybody that's in the music industry, was obviously Corona. Yes, the big C word. But so early this year, I was actually interning at 2 different venues, as a sound guy, lighting guy, whatever. And things were going well. And like if Corona had happened, I would have probably gotten, a pretty good job at both those places. But Corona came, and it did its thing, and so for the first couple of months, probably for the first month, it was half being lazy, half self-loathing. But because about like a month in, we I guess America realized that we don't know how long this is going to last for. So that kind of inspired me to kind of get more serious, or not get more serious, but start putting myself out there more in terms of social media and stuff like that. And that was probably around May and stuff like that. So I really started to go at, YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that as a musician, probably around May-ish, June, July-ish. Those 3 months, I forget at this point, but
They all bleeded in the same.
Yeah.
This year is just a fog.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
It's almost over.
Yeah, thank God.
All right.
Thank God.
But I think that's my general SOS moment. There's more details to be had, but that's the general overview. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will get into those details.
Awesome.
And then yours?
It's
No,
your turn,
same.
David.
Yeah, same.
No, it's not the same. It's different. Come on.
Same.
Explain.
Yeah, I mean, Corona for me was pretty, crappy just because couple family members actually caught it, and 2 of them actually went to the hospital. So that kind of sucked. They're good now though. So that, but in those, I guess, couple weeks where I didn't really know what was going on with them, it sort of, kicked me in the butt a little bit to try to to do the things that I'm doing now even harder. I guess partly for them, partly for me. I just can't be dicking around.
Yeah.
Amen. That should be our motto. Can't be dicking around.
Can't be
2020.
dicking around.
But then,
well, I want to backtrack too, because I'm really interested in how you guys met and how kind of this relationship came to be.
Do you want me to explain it? Or do you want?
It's
to
always
explain
more
it?
romantic when you say it.
Aw.
We're not a couple, by the way. But
We're a couple of dummies. That's what we
yeah.
are.
No, but like,
That's what we say.
but me and David, we actually go back to high school. So our high school isn't too far from where we have our office set up right now, actually. So we met back in high school. This guy was a completely different person than who he is right now. He was one of those slackers that sneaked alcohol into the premises of the school like a delinquent.
Oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
He was a
would've
bad
been
boy.
friends.
No one ever
Uh-oh.
caught. So that's a lie.
But yeah, so that's where we met, and then I think it was your freshman year, my sophomore year. David came in and he started to learn guitar and stuff like that, and like I was already playing guitar for a certain amount of years, so we just connected through that. Like I probably saw you playing your like acoustic guitar somewhere outside of school or something like that. But that's how we connected. I feel basically. So then our like my junior year, his like sophomore year, our school started a music club, so we would just join there and do stuff like that. So that's how
Performed
like we
together a couple
became
times.
yeah. So that's how we became friends basically. Yeah.
And you, Daniel, like you considered yourself an artist, but David, you don't.
I mean, like I got artistic.
He was ready for
tendencies.
greatness, but he all traded in for becoming a realtor, for
Yeah.
becoming a real adult.
I don't like talking about my job.
I feel like podcasters are artists,
I guess so. Yeah.
I mean,
I also think that
to put creativity into anything I do. I'm not really that analytical.
say.
I'm more like sort of working in the abstract, trying to make things and then working backwards.
And he's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it drives this guy insane just because like I could be thinking one thing at one time and then
Here's
just
the thing.
completely flip it.
He constantly holds me hostage, just trying to brainstorm ideas. Like at the end of the day, because like usually we could be here from like maybe. From the earliest 8 o'clock, and he will try to have me over until like after 6 just to like brainstorm ideas. And,
There was one day
I'm
where
like,
like we were just trying.
That's what we are like too.
yeah.
it's annoying, isn't it? Like who's the one who like
We're numb to it.
holds the other
go.
hostage? Like which one is the hostage?
Hostage taker.
Oh
Yeah.
no, we both hold we're both in it. We're
Yeah,
both like
You guys are
dumb
crazy.
hours
bitches.
go
We call
by
each other
and-
dumb bitches, and we're trekking along.
There was this one day where like we were just trying to think of like new like TikTok ideas.
He was not me.
I was just like bouncing ideas off him, but I needed him to be here. So we stayed until like 10 o'clock.
Was it that late?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
I was pissed.
Yeah, you were pretty mad.
Yeah,
so and just for listeners too, you guys are in Brooklyn.
yeah,
New
we're in
York,
Brooklyn.
and
Yeah,
that's- and you're both like Brooklyn locals. Brooklyn or just New York? Where you
I guess
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn for
Brooklyn.
both of us.
Yeah, Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But like two
Yeah,
completely
and-
sides of Brooklyn, or like two completely different.
Both pretty bad
areas.
neighborhoods though.
No, yours.
I think mine. You think mine takes the cake?
I don't. Well, yours is getting gentrified more than mine.
That's true. So yeah, I think mine was.
Williamsburg?
No, not
No, no,
Williamsburg.
no.
So you're from what? East New York.
Yeah, I'm from East New York.
Yeah, and I'm from
Gotcha.
Canarsie, which is where Pop Smoke actually lived.
That's the only thing.
You
you
know?
got going for
Yeah,
yourself,
that's the only thing we got
You
going
always-
for us
you
at this
always
point.
have to plug it in every time.
No,
you
I'm
talk
not plugging it in.
fucking neighborhood.
I didn't know about Pop Smoke until after he died. So like
Yeah, me neither. Me
Yeah.
neither, to be fair.
yeah. So
Yeah,
you
same.
know, yeah.
Well, and kind of going back to what you were saying about creativity being, I think there's a misconception, everywhere. But I'm just thinking of like America. You have a 9 to 5, or you're an artist, and the artists are this, and the 9 to 5ers are this. But in reality, like you just said, you like to weave creativity into, and then it limits people. It makes people think, well, I'm not a creative. I'm a realtor, or I'm not a creative. I'm a nurse, but creativity isn't actually bound to being a singer, being an actress, painting. And so I think that's an important point that you brought up. And there are what is like the height of creativity is like people like curing diseases and stuff like that. So it's really,
That's
it
true.
can be broadly, it's more than we tend to think of it as when we talk about creatives, or like, are you an artist? And I was wondering, so did you guys start your podcast? You started your podcast before the pandemic. And I know you mentioned as the SOS moment, kind of like how COVID hit you as an artist, you as podcasters. Will you expand on that a little bit? What happened?
Yeah, that's all David, because this
Yeah.
is actually David's brainchild.
It's my little baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I started this like a while ago. I think probably early 2018 I started it, but it was just so busy trying to get this whole thing, going, just because, I was adjusting to a new job, a new office, trying to get everything situated, and then sort of like I couldn't be as consistent as I wanted to be. I feel like that was just a lie I told myself, because I mean, this year I was pretty busy after the whole pandemic thing was going, and it sort of just kicked me into high gear. Like, listen, you could do everything you can. There's like, what, you got like 16 hours in the day that you're not sleeping. I mean, do something that you can't be dicking around.
Yes.
Can't be dicking around 2020. And it's so interesting because your podcast is great, because it kind of is nostalgic listening and like watching as well, your episodes, because it reminds me of how diverse it is when it comes to artists in New York City and musicians and music in New York City. And it's a delight to learn and find and discover new artists too. Do you find anything specific like that you notice in New York City artists that maybe like other artists from other places might not have, like in your conversations?
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing was, when I started this podcast, was to like not have it be just just musicians or just painters, because you in order to like look at all the characteristics that there are in artists, you have to look at everything as a whole. You know what I mean? And
you had a visual designer, a visual what do I call it? A visual graphic designer one time, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's sort of like anybody that we see who is actively trying to pursue a career in music, or a career in art in the city, we want to have a conversation with them.
No slackers allowed.
Yeah, no slackers allowed, Daniel. No, but yeah, I mean, I think with New York City artists especially, it's like, it's a different type of drive, a different type of like grit they have, just because, I mean,
because rent is expensive.
Yeah, it basically comes down to that, because living here is fucking expensive. And if somebody's really allotting some of their time into like being creative with it, they have to be like, good.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have to have confidence in yourself. You have to like believe in yourself more than anybody can, because it is a hard field in any city, but New York, when, at least for me as an actor, and in LA too, it's like you're a dime a dozen. Like, there's so many out there. So to stand out, you have to really fucking believe in yourself and do the work and love it. You have to love it. Otherwise, it's going to like eat you.
Otherwise, it's just so easy to quit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so for your podcast, your vision for your podcast, when you were brainstorming everything and it was beginning, what is the overall message, and how has it evolved, like, that you want to bring to your audience? Like, what do you want them to get out of these conversations that you're having?
Yeah, we were like talking about before, like, what's our stick, basically.
Yeah, right. What's our stick?
What's our stick? Yeah, David, tell them, what's our stick?
I mean, starting out, the whole tagline for Sounds Like NYC was like spotlighting New York City talent. But as I got more and more people on,
we realized more and more people aren't really talented.
No. Yes.
I'm just joking.
Yes.
No.
You're like, damn, this is disappointing.
No, but also, I mean, I think it's important to sort of like build a community with the artists that we have on. So trying to help each other out. I mean, we're always trying to keep in contact with other people, seeing like, oh, listen, we got this new idea. Would you help us out with it? We know that you might need a graphic designer or something for your album coming out. Like, do you need somebody you can reach out to us for?
Oh, so you're like kind of creating, it's a podcast, but it's like you're creating a network within itself.
Exactly.
Basically,
like community within yourself. Yeah. That's really cool. That could evolve into, that's a really unique idea. And you don't really see other podcasts leaning into that, in the sense of like
building communities like that.
Yeah, literally, like, you're creating a phone book for artists to find other artists that have other strengths. And if you guys serve as that hub and that connecting point, that's really cool. That's really powerful.
Great, David. Now they're going to steal our idea. Look what you done.
We're like, all right, SOS.
Confident that no one else can do it as better as me. So.
Ooh, okay.
Well, you guys, I feel like you guys could really expand. You know what I mean? There's so much potential. Like to have a Sounds Like LA, you know what I mean? You could have a Sounds Like ATL and like really build an empire with this podcast. Like
we will license Sounds Like LA to you guys if you want.
You know what's funny?
Okay, well we'll be your LA chapter.
We were actually like a couple months ago, like before the pandemic, I was like, listen, there's these fucking like Instagram handles, like Sounds Like LA, sounds like fucking like Nashville, sounds like, you know, Atlanta. I want to take them and just
buy them out.
Yeah.
Buy them out.
Yeah. And the URLs too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because we had that problem with like the other sounds. So like not even kind of like sounds like so and so city, but like we're like expanding into different, I guess, art forms or like different, you know, sides of like creativity. So now we have like looks like NYC, tastes like NYC, or like eats like NYC, because like taste like NYC was already taken. So we are already trying to, you know, expand.
I love
that.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
5-year plan is definitely going more deep than it is wide.
Yeah, I love that.
Ooh, sick.
I also I'm wondering what, I don't know if you could choose one, but you know, what is one of the biggest lessons you've learned from any of your guests, or one of the biggest things that you gain from having these conversations?
I think, you know, me being like just the guy I am, like sometimes if the vibes aren't right with a person, like at the forefront, I just don't want to interview them. Just because like I don't really see anything coming on with it. But I feel like if I push through, you know, my preconceived whatever of the person and actually sit down and talk to them, it's just like, oh wait, no, there's this different side of you. You were just doing this because maybe you're like, you know, I guess shy, or you don't really do well on camera or something like that. But definitely, you know, everybody's got a story to tell. Just gotta find it.
Yeah, that was a lesson you learned at my expense, right? Because
Shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up.
It is like breaking, like, you know, not.
Moron.
They're gonna break up tomorrow.
No. Okay.
Break up.
We're broken up like 8 times this week.
I guess we could tell them after, but not on the podcast. I guess. But
That's fine.
David learned that episode at my expense.
Gotcha. We'll learn that after. Audience, sorry, it's exclusive information.
Yes.
It could be on our Patreon,
you know,
exclusive.
Patreon.
Oh, there you go. Exactly. Milk it for all it's worth.
Not judging a book by its cover, kind of, and you know, that's a really good lesson, especially as somebody when you are having that many conversations with that many different people.
Yeah, I mean, should we tell them about Never Again?
That was a good day.
That was a
juicy
good
story. We like it.
Never Again is a day that will live on. Yes, it's a day that will live on in infamy. Yes. So basically,
share.
David was so gung-ho, even from the beginning, as I became a part of the podcast, about trying to kick out like 5 to 8
I wanted to do 8
podcasts
episodes
in a day.
in one day.
Yeah. And like,
oh wow,
like hour-long episodes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So
no. Like you said, like 30 minutes, right?
No. I'm saying like in the beginning when we had the WeWork space.
Yeah.
Remember, I was like, yo, we have one day out of the month. Let's knock out 8.
Yeah.
I see.
1 hour episodes.
Yeah.
That was awful.
Yeah. So, even from then, I was like, David, you're stupid. Let's not do it this way, because on that day he was like bringing it up to me like we had like 4 interviews on that day, and like,
oh my god,
we were like already feeling tired, kind of like midway through. So fast forward a couple of months to like Never Again Day, that was September, right? Like September
29th.
Yeah, 29th. Yeah. But basically, David had booked. No. Because what we do is that we have like artists kind of like book the time. So on that day, the stars aligned, and and how many people do we have on? Was it 6?
5 people.
Yeah, 5 or 6 people,
yeah.
and they were like back to back, like and like halfway through, like we were just dead, and we started just making a bunch of mistakes, not like recording some parts of episodes.
Oh fuck!
Zoom interview, and like for the first 5-7 minutes from one of these people that came in, we just forgot to press record.
Yeah.
Oh fuck!
Yeah.
So we were just like, Hey,
I just had to check to see if we were. Goddamn.
checking with you. Can we just do this whole this interview, like just the beginning part? I think we messed up a little bit or something.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell her like to the extent of like how much it was, but it was. I think we did that twice.
We probably no. I think we did it more than once, but like the only time was like no, because that one time was like on Never Again.
Yeah.
So like
So what's your routine now? Like how many will you knock out in a day?
we haven't had much recently because right now we like kind of have like a schedule that's so we have like a month-long schedule, so we basically have enough podcasts
I think
to like produce until like
next week we're gonna have episode 65, I think, and I think we recorded up to
Nice.
75, so we
Yeah.
have like 5 extra weeks of like just episodes.
Yeah, we like to
Nice.
do that too. Kind of knock them out, so you don't have to worry about it. No matter what happens, you just have them in the can.
Yeah, but we've learned our lesson. I think David has kind of like closed off kind of like the whole scheduling thing, right? Like just having artists come on and schedule.
See, here's the thing
Well,
with me, right?
also-
I people can tell me that this thing's gonna happen if you do it like this. Like, okay, cool, yeah, but I want to experience it to see if it's actually true. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about specifically?
Like if someone tells me like, oh yeah, doing 8 episodes in one day is just
Common
dumb.
sense would
You
tell you.
shouldn't do that. It's 8 hours. I'm just like, but what if, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, David learned his lesson because I already knew it was crazy from the start. But David learned this lesson and he's a better man for
Maybe
it.
we could
I
do it
think.
again and we'll get it right this time.
No, no.
He's like, no. I'm curious. I guess kind of bringing it back to the SOS moment, but with the pandemic and everything, like, how have you noticed in your conversations? And Daniel, you probably can speak to this too as a musician. How has like the pandemic life changed with artists that you speak to pre the pandemic and after in your podcast?
I was talking to one of the artists that we've had on, just like because we're like friends and everything, so we were just like talking and stuff like that. And during the time that she came on our podcast, this was like right before everything went to hell.
I think it was in
She
February.
was, yeah. She was like going through like a rough time with like a relationship and stuff like that. So then come, Corona and stuff like that, she was in a tough place as well. But like she was telling me that like through Corona, she was like able to really grind, kind of like work on herself, get over the bad relationship and really grind towards becoming like a better artist. And like recently she was like telling me that she's been doing collabs, up and down. Like, she has like around 6 like collabs already finished.
Wow.
And like she's like working on more and stuff like that. So for her specifically,
She's a workhorse.
yeah. So for her, it was like a time to like really reset herself, I guess. And I guess for me, I could say the same because I also went through like a similar thing, like at the start of this year, kind of like a relationship ending, whatever, and like this whole quarantine time has been a help for me to really get me to like a better place. But for the people that we've like spoken to, obviously Corona comes up because it's like unavoidable. And with the people that we've been talking to, they seem to be either doing things as usual, like Corona wasn't like really kind of like a big roadblock, or because of Corona, they've really been getting to it and getting on the grind. So.
Yeah, I think everyone's trying to make the most of it because I mean, you can't really do anything else really. I mean, feeling sorry for yourself only works for so long, and then just like, wait a minute, that's not helping.
Yep.
Yeah. That's I am curious if you guys have any dream guests for your show.
I do. I don't even know if he still lives in the city, but there's this one vocalist of a band that I really love. Their name is Good Tiger. I don't know if you guys ever heard of them, but their vocalist, last time I checked, lives in the city, and I have a friend who's actually friends with him. But like, so he's not like a huge celebrity or like anything like that, but he's still pretty big within the certain scene that like he's like a part of. So like, I've been thinking or like kind of like dreaming of ways to get him on, just because he seems like a really cool guy and stuff like that, and he does live in the city. Last time I checked, so I think it'll be really cool, but I'm not sure as to how I should approach him. But yeah.
That's cool.
David, do you have any?
Yeah.
Gary V, right?
No, I mean John Mayer. No,
Yes.
I don't really have anybody. I don't think, just because
Mhm.
I like treating everyone like sort of on the same level.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
like
cool.
having favorites. I mean, even like people we have on, if I don't like their music or their art or stuff like that, doesn't really factor into like whether or not they're gonna come on. You know what I mean? I don't like putting my personal feelings into this. The sort of the goal for this podcast isn't for me to amplify my feelings into it. It's just sort of to showcase anybody who's in the city and trying to make it.
So you could call yourself kind of like a storyteller in that way,
Yeah.
because you're showcasing people's stories
Yeah.
for
It's-
a living, for lack of a better word, in your podcast. That's a pretty dope way to be, you know, and to
Yeah.
like inspire you to keep making these episodes. Before we let you go, like, because like this kind of just came up to me, Molly, like maybe you can like agree with the question too. Like I feel like with this election, even let alone the pandemic, do you think there's going to be a shift in the way these conversations are going to go with artists? You know, do you think there's going to be like, you know, a new kind of energy when it comes to writing music, a new energy when it comes to just doing anything that artists, however they're expressing themselves, whether it's painting or whatever, now that we're kind of in a new era?
I think, just me, you know, thinking out loud, I think more like, you know, artists of color are going to try to be more, are going to be more confident and, you know, trying to put out, you know, their true whatever it is. That's what I see happening. But I also think that, you know, this whole COVID thing really whipped everybody into shape. And it's like, all right, cool. I was going to do this anyways, but now I got even more energy to do it. So let's fucking go.
Yeah.
I don't know, because I feel like, I guess, protest music and stuff like that probably happened more under Trump.
Right.
But maybe I could not tell you, because yesterday I was like going around to this certain park, and like I was like filming like a couple of bands and stuff like that. And like I think, everything considered, like a lot of people, or like at least like half the country feels like, you know, the worst has passed and like better things are like able to come out of it. So I don't know if like Biden becoming president will really affect the way people make art, but I just feel like the whole atmosphere that, you know, Trump is gone, and you know, it's a new what am I looking for, like a new energy shift, I guess. So maybe that will like inspire people in some ways, but I couldn't say for sure what, you know, artists, if there will be any like major shift at all. But I know that, you know, the sooner Corona goes away, the sooner live shows can happen again. So I'm just looking forward to that, really.
Yeah, 100%. You know, it's interesting, like to think about like when, you know, the worst times in this country and a lot of other countries, whether it's when you're going through war, a shitty fucking president, a fascist president, whatever, you know, a lot of good art does kind of emerge through there. And I think it's kind of like what you said, Daniel. It's like kind of like a protest. It's kind of like, fuck you, I'm going to express myself. So I wonder, it's kind of, you know, I wonder what this era is going to look like for different artists that are writing new material, and like, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, but I'm sure you guys will cover it on your podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. Oh, come on. It's like a plane, and I like the motorcycle.
Listen,
I think it's
actually
really
can't-
cool too, because this is the first one where like our guests are outside. I like that idea of like shooting outside. I like, that's cool.
So beautiful.
it was so nice today. We had
You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Thank you guys so much.
the last day.
Yeah.
thank you so much for being on.
Thank
Yeah, keep. Oh, what is it? Don't dick around.
Don't take
Yeah,
around.
stop dicking around.
No dicking
Stop
around.
dicking around.
2021.
Thank you so much for everything. Like I'm so excited about your podcast, and we're gonna shoot everybody your information, your Instagram, and how to get to your podcast soon. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us on.
Appreciate it. Of course. Oh my gosh. I always get so much joy hearing about other artists' experiences and perspectives, and
Especially like the pandemic really slowed people down, but kind of centered yourself by default, because you had this time to kind of figure out and change course of how you were going to adapt. Like, adapting as artists, though, is kind of second nature because of how creative we are already. And just like, and how inspired we are with what's going on around us and the people that we talk to. Like, self-expression isn't like, it's just something that we have to do. It's in our blood.
And like, you know, something that gets lost in how fast the world was moving previously. We move so fast. There's always this like pressure, especially in artists, like content. Like, where's your and everything's just moving and moving and moving. And artists are very susceptible to get sucked into that and to slowly divorce themselves from their actual craft. And so the pandemic has thankfully slowed things down, and I know it's brought a lot of artists back around to just the craft of it. You're not out on the streets, you're not even out performing, you know, which is unfortunate, but at the same time there's a whole beauty to be found in the origins of why we all came to the crafts that we came to. And that's, as a child in your bedroom, you weren't, you know, it all comes down to that.
Yep.
And so for our nonprofit for this episode, we're promoting Right of Your Life, WRITE. Right of Your Life is a 12-week program with a mission to break the cycle of victimization and abuse for students faced with adversity through cultural arts and restorative justice mentoring programs. They bring these programs to schools, correctional institutions, mental health facilities, and community centers throughout California to effect positive change on the individual level. So to learn more and donate, please visit therightofyourlife.org. And once again, it's the right, WRITE, of yourlife.org.
And follow them at SoundsLikeNYC, so you can catch their podcast and catch some episodes. They're so entertaining, and I love learning more about the artists around there. And you can obviously follow us at the SOS Pod. We are also on YouTube. Search for SOS with Molly and Melissa, and you're going to see our beautiful faces talking to these beautiful boys.
Also, please,
I'm married.
You know, we're always begging for reviews and likes. We're just begging, kind of like Lindsey Graham. But also,
why'd you have to go there?
I don't know, but I just came out and it happened. But I would like to encourage people to pass on our episodes to whoever you might know, friends and family. If there's an episode topic we cover that you think someone might like, you know, we're really trying to reach more and more people. So please help us.
Yep. I'm Melissa Rosano.
I'm Molly Cottrell, and here's to turning meltdowns into magic.